ChatGPT said. It was the middle of summer when Jordan Baines walked into Langston High for the first time as the new music teacher. The school was tucked in the corner of a quiet Georgia town where time moved slower and change came with resistance. Jordan, fresh out of Juilliard, came with big dreams and a resume full of talent, but none of that mattered when people saw the color of his skin before they heard his music. On his first day, he was met with polite nods, stiff smiles, and the occasional glance that lingered a second too long. The school's auditorium was dusty, the piano out of tune, and the music room hadn't seen a full class in years. Budget cuts, they said. Disinterest. Kids these days don't care about music. But Jordan didn't believe that. He believed music was breath, that it lived inside people, waiting to be stirred. So he started small. He left the music room door open during lunch, started humming, tapping rhythms on the old desk, letting jazz spill into the hallways. One day, a girl named Callie peeked in, violin case in hand. The next week, a boy named Trevor showed up with his grandfather's trumpet. Word spread. Soon the room was full, students of all kinds, some who had never touched an instrument, others who used to play but stopped when life got loud. But not everyone was pleased. One of the senior board members approached Jordan after a rehearsal and said, "We just don't want this turning into a hip-hop thing." Jordan stared at him, calm but sharp. "This is turning into a music thing." Then came the real test. The school announced a regional music competition. Langston hadn't competed in over a decade. Jordan's students begged to go. He agreed. Knowing they had less than 6 weeks to prepare, they practiced every day after school, weekends too. Jordan brought in old sheet music, taught them how to compose their own arrangements. He blended jazz, classical, and soul into something entirely theirs. 1 week before the competition, their funding was pulled. Administrative priorities shifted, they were told. The kids were crushed. But Jordan had lived his whole life pushing past closed doors. He called in favors, set up a fundraiser, played live on street corners with his students, sold old equipment, and when they didn't raise enough, he paid the rest out of his own savings. Competition day came. They walked into the auditorium wearing matching shirts with one word across the front, resound. The other schools had polished uniforms and brand new instruments. Langston had borrowed bows, taped up reeds, and secondhand horns. But when they played, the room went silent, then roaring. They didn't win first place. They won audience choice. Standing ovation. People cried. Afterward, one of the judges came up and said, "I haven't heard soul like that in years." Months later, Langston High received a grant to rebuild its music program, a new auditorium, scholarships for students, and a plaque on the wall that read, "He didn't just teach music, he reminded us we had a voice." Jordan stayed at Langston because he knew this. In places where people once whispered, you can still teach the world to sing.